Hey everybody, welcome back to Andrina's Creation. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to design and put together 3D Gable boxes. You're going to see how easy it is. It's not as hard as you guys might think. I am going to be using Silhouette Studio, but even though I am teaching you in this software, you can use any software of your choice. You're going to see how easy it is. Do not overthink it. So let's get started. All right, for your materials, you're going to need cardstock. Depending on the theme that you are doing, so a variety of colors of cardstock. You can use 65 pound, 80 pound, 100 pound. It doesn't matter because these are for the layers that you're going to be creating. So Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, and so on, they have a variety of colors. Also, if you want to add your metallic cardstock, your glitter cardstocks, and all that, like I said, go to your local craft store and just grab a variety of colors of the theme that you are going to be doing, okay? You're going to need printing paper depending on the printer that you have. I'm going to be using Koala Photo Mat 11 by 17 paper. Now, yes, it is 11 by 17 because I do have a wide format printer. But if you only have a printer that prints 8 by 11, you can still buy that paper and cut it in half and it will make it 8.5 by 11. Now, the paper that I'm using is going to be matte, but if you want that glossy look, you will have to buy glossy paper. And again, make sure that your paper is compatible with your printer. Sometimes when I say my ink is smearing, it's because that paper was not compatible with your printer. And what I mean by that is when you purchase or before purchasing your paper, check if your paper is for pigment ink or dye ink, if it's for inkjet printer, if it's for a laser printer. That's what you have to check for your printing paper. The thickness of the paper also, I prefer a little bit thicker. So if I'm going to be using my matte paper, the photo matte paper from Koala is 66 pounds, but also pretty Party and Crafty. Let me show you that package. This is a glossy paper and this one's 96 pounds and this one is 8 by 11. So go ahead and check her website out as well. Again, I'm going to be leaving all the links down below of everything that I'm mentioning right now. Of course, you are going to need a printer to print out your images. Now, it's totally up to you what printer you use. There's no specifics or right or wrong on what printer you use. Just make sure whatever printer you do have, that you have the printer's drivers downloaded into your computer, laptop, so on, so you can change the paper settings. Because personally, I like to print on premium presentation paper matte when I'm printing on photo matte paper, and then when I'm printing on glossy, I also change the settings to that. So always make sure whatever printer that you do own, that you do download the printer drivers into your laptop or desktop. These are just some tools that I'm going to be using. My adhesive of choice is my own brand of glue, Andrina's Creations Craft Glue. I'll leave the link down below for another brand of glue that I do enjoy, is Art's Glitter Glue. I'm going to be doing a shaker. You don't have to do a shaker, but I'm just going to be using this chunky glitter from my shaker. I'm going to be using adhesive squares. I got this from the Dollar Tree. This is in the automobile section and there's only $1.25, of course, because it's a Dollar Tree. I'm going to be using non-stick scissors, so when I go ahead and cut my foam tape, I'm able to cut it and it doesn't get stick to my scissors. I prefer using a squeegee. Some people use a brayer, but this is so I could just squeeze in or squeegee my stuff on my Gable boxes. I'm going to be using tweezers. These, I love it. They're called reversible tweezers. I'm going to leave the link down below specifically for these tweezers. This is when I'm holding small items. All I have to do is pick it up like this, and then I no longer have to hold it, so it stays closed. This is a weeding pen for vinyl, but I do use this when I weed out the backing of my foam tape. And of course, why not a bougie spoon when I grab my shaker pieces. If you are going to be doing a shaker, you are going to need acetate and of course your Gable boxes. Now, the sizes that I use is 6 by 3.5 by 3.5 if I'm using the square top, which I'm going to show you. You can see that these are just a rectangle. They're just a straight top, just like this. This is what I mean when I say a straight top. So right here is straight. And I also use the one that are curved. So the ones that are straight, these sizes are 6 by 3.5 by 3.5. It doesn't matter the brand. I'm just telling you the sizes that I use, and it's a straight rectangle just like this. Now, for the curved ones on the top, the sizes for these are 6.25 by 6.25 by 3.5, like this. They're curved, okay? So they have a whole bunch of brands, and they also have a variety of colors. So this is what I use, either straight or curved. When you have the curved ones like this, you can add the name up here and it's like lifted up, versus the one that is just a straight rectangle that is going to lay more flat. Okay, but I will also leave the links down below of some of these Gable boxes so you can check them out. When you shop on Amazon, in the description of the items that you're going to buy, it's always going to tell you the measurement of the boxes. But if you're like, I don't want to check that, I mean, you should, because why not? So you know exactly what you are buying. You can also go ahead and measure your rectangles. All right, so I highly recommend a fractions measuring tape, and this is what I mean. It says the 1/2, 1/8, 3/8, like that, so you know exactly the measurements to put into your software. And it doesn't matter the software that you are using, these are the measurements that you have to enter in whichever software of your choice: Cricut, Silhouette Studio, Photoshop, Publisher, Canva, doesn't matter. Because if your box is 6 inches, you shouldn't be asking no one, well, what measurements you use. If your boxes is 6 inches, why are you putting 5 inches into your software? That means it didn't fit. So you need to make sure that you do measure, and exactly wherever you want to put a design in, that is exactly what you're going to measure. So if you want to put a design right here, you have to measure that rectangle. If you want to put a design here, measure that rectangle and measure that rectangle. That's how you do it with any box, especially if you're buying other size boxes than what I'm using, then measure. But like I said, Amazon always have the measurements in the description. If I missed any other supplies, I will for sure tell you throughout the video, but for now, let's go ahead and start designing. Okay, so the software that I'm going to be using is Silhouette Studio, but like I said at the beginning, you can use any other software of your choice. Just follow the same steps. Now, I do recommend using a cutting machine so you are able to cut out all your layers. Hey, but if you want to do it by hand, you can. Silhouette Studio is free to use if you use the basic edition. I will leave the link down below on how to download the basic edition. I will be using business edition, and it's just the upgrade of all the versions. You only pay one time, and it's on sale right now for $50. The original price is $100, but like I said, it's on sale for $50, and you only pay one time, and that's it. Now, I have a lot of videos using Silhouette Studio, and you do not need a cutting machine to use the software. If you are a Cricut owner, you can design in Silhouette Studio and cut with your Cricut if you have business edition. I have another video showing you guys how to do that. I have an entire playlist here, y'all. Now, if you are brand new to using Silhouette Studio, one of the main things I need you to do is to change your settings. And the reason why I say that is because when you go ahead and create a shape, if you don't change these settings, every time you create a shape, you are going to continuously draw another shape. And let me show you. Right here in your bottom right corner, you're going to click, and where it says Tools, where it says after creating a shape, is going to say continue drawing a shape, and I'm going to click OK. This is only for the people that just opened Silhouette Studio for the first time. If I go here to my left and click on the shapes, you're going to see that my mouse does not change back to the arrow. I'm going to continuously draw a shape. Then you have to click back on the cursor to get back on there to get off of creating shapes. I'm going to select everything and click delete. This is why I mean go back to your settings all the way in your bottom right corner, click on tools, and everything here, click choose to select and click on OK. All right, from here you're set. Remember I told you to go ahead and measure your Gable box? This is why, because you need to go ahead and create a rectangle for it. So right here on my right, right here on my left on my shapes, I'm going to go ahead and click on a rectangle, make any rectangle of my choice. And then right here, I'm going to unlock on here, and so I'm going to unlock the lock. And right here, let's say your Gable box was 8 inches in width, and then your height was 4 inches, right? I'm going to go ahead and color that. So right here is your paint palette. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a color. So let's say this was your original size of your Gable box. Right here, I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to go here on top. This is the top of your gable box. Let's say this was 2 inches. I'm going to right click and duplicate. And let's say here was 4 and 4. Let's just say these were the original sizes for your gable box, right? But you want to create layers. You don't have to create layers. I am just showing you how I design my gable boxes. There is no right or wrong on how you design your gable boxes. It's all about the theme, all about how you want to design it. So you don't have to exactly design it the way I do. This is just the way that I design some of my gable boxes, but all my gable boxes are not made equal, okay? So let's just say these are your sizes for your gable box, right? This is for the regular rectangle on top, like the straight top, like I told you guys. For the straight top one. For the one that's here curved, I have another video showing you how I traced that and how I came up with that shape. I literally took the image from Amazon and I traced that shape there and I just adjusted it to the size. So if you want to go ahead and check that video out as well. So right here, what do? You're going to select all your shapes, and we have an icon that's called an offset. Cricut Design Space also has this. So right here is a double star. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to zoom in and zoom out button is up here. Let me zoom in. And I'm going to click here where it says internal offsets. And I'm just going to go up on the distance until I am satisfied on how far it looks. You could pick whatever. I just don't recommend you going in so in like this. Let me color it so y'all can see. Not so much like this, okay? And then if you want to create 2 layers, what you're going to have to do is you're going to click on in the offset, click on internal offset again, and that is your next layer. So that's literally how you create layers for anything that you are creating, right? All right, me personally, I am going to be using a template that I already have made for my gable boxes. I already did all these sizing and internal offsets, and then I saved it. If you want to purchase it, you don't have to. It is available on my website, but like I said, you can measure it your own. I'm actually giving y'all both layers for the rounded corner and the straight one. So all you have to do is head on over to my website, andrinaskreations.com, and it's only for the gable box layer templates. This is not a gable box actual template, okay? This is just for the layers. It's gonna come with 2 SVGs and 2 silhouette files. The SVGs is for Cricut, and for Cricut, I'm gonna be having the measurements exactly there on how you measure it for Cricut. You just move the measurements to the side and only resize the template that I gave you. I'm also going to include right here the arch, if y'all want that, the shaker arch. And like I said, you're gonna have the straight one and you're gonna have a curved one. Now remember, the gable box sizes that I use is these sizes right here. So if you go ahead and buy a different size, don't say like, oh, your template did not work. These are the gable box sizes that I use. All right, so now after you make a purchase, you're going to go ahead and download, extract the file, and then bring those templates into the software that you're going to be using. Remember, this is not a Canva template. This is only for Silhouette Studio and Cricut Design Space. I will be using Silhouette Studio, and there's 2 different ways on how to bring in a template into Silhouette Studio. You got to file and merge. If you go to file and open, you're going to open a new document, but I'm just going to go down here to my file folder, and right here I'm going to go ahead and bring in my template. So I'm going to be using the silhouette file. If you have basic edition, you are only allowed to open silhouette files. If you have business edition, you can also open SVG files, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on the straight top one, and I'm also going to select the curved one because I'm actually going to design 2 of them for you guys. It into silhouette. That's all right? Now, I'm only going to do 1 box with the arch, and the other one I'm not going to do the arch. I'm going to say this again. Exactly how I'm designing the gable boxes, you don't have to do it like this, because I know everybody's gonna say, well, I don't do my boxes like this. Can I do it a different way? Of course, you don't even have to make them 3D. This is just me showing you different techniques, okay? All right, Now, when I design, I like to change everything to the color that I'm going to be cutting out so I don't get confused. That is just something that I personally do. Right here, the one that is straight top, I am going to design this for a girl. So I know that my colors are going to be blues. I want my first layer to be holographic color. And let me explain about the template. Your teal pieces are your first layer that you're going to cut out of your metallics or glitter. And then your lavender pieces is the one that you're going to do your print and cut, your design, you're going to emboss, and so on. This is exactly how I just showed you how to create internal offsets. This is your layers, okay? So this is going to be my first layer, and this is going to be my second layer. I also provided some arches here that you're going to right click and ungroup, even if it's in Cricut and even if it's in Silhouette Studio, and right click and ungroup it, and right click and ungroup this. So these pieces right here, this is your main back that you're just going to know exactly where your arches go. The white piece is where you're going to put your printed design. Your gray piece is for your acetate. This strip is what you're going to cut out of how many times you want to create that, how deep you want your shakers to move in there. And also this is the main strip of your decoration. And this is just like a decorative strip to go on top of this strip. You don't have to use this purple layer strip if you don't want to, but it just gives it a cute little design, okay? So those are your pieces right here. I'm going to be changing everything, the color, so you can just see it. All right. Like I said, for this box, I'm going to be doing like a inspiration of Elsa, and I'm going to get all my digital backgrounds and my images from Creative Fabrica. If this is just for personal use, you can just go ahead on Google to practice and search digital backgrounds, like I say, a Elsa background, Elsa PNG, and so on, just for to go ahead and practice, okay? But like I said, I'm going to go ahead to Creative Fabrica. And this is the first background that I downloaded. So it's called Watercolor Royal Blue Princess. This is a membership here. You can pay monthly or you can pay yearly. I'm paid all the way until I think 2026. But you have so many stuff here. Digital backgrounds, PNGs, SVGs, fonts. I mean, you name it. If you don't know about this website and you want to try, you can try for the first month for only $1. And go ahead and check the link down below. But like I said, I love it because, I mean, you can download daily tons and tons of stuff. If you don't have the memberships, then you're going to have to pay individually for everything that you get. All right. So this is the Watercolor Royal Blue Princess background that I'm going to use. And all I did was click on download. After it downloads, I go ahead and save it to my laptop in an external hard drive. And I unzip that, okay, because it's going to be extracted. So I also unzip that file. So I'm going to be using this. And then the PNGs that I'm going to be using, the clip arts, is this one, the Blue Little Princess watercolor clip art. This is what I'm going to use as well because I'm going to use her little image. So this is for the girl Gable box that I'm going to do. Now, like I told you before, I like to color everything as I go so I know what color to cut it out. So I went just on regular Google or Microsoft Bing because y'all be coming for me. And I just looked up a holographic background. And I'm just going to find something similar that looks kind of like my cardstock. Now, remember, I'm doing this, but this is not going to get printed. This is so I know that this is going to be cutting out of holographic cardstock. I'm going to just select probably this. Right click, copy image, go into Silhouette, right click, and paste. All right, so this is like my holographic cardstock. All these pieces right here, that my teal pieces, I know that my first layer, I want to cut it out of holographic cardstock. I have business edition, which I'm going to show you both ways. Because I have business edition, I could just select one. Right here on my left, I have a medicine dropper. It's called a property dropper, but I call it a medicine dropper. I'm going to select that right here on my left. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on this image that I just brought in, the holographic. And as you can see, this changed to holographic, right? If you do not have business edition, the way that you do it is you're going to go ahead and place this right here. You're going to select both. you're going to go here to your modify icon that looks like a square and a circle, and you're going to click on crop. That's it. That's for your regular basic edition if you don't have business edition, okay? But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and change all this to this. And then I'm going to go to my fill icon. That's your paint palette. I'm going to go here to my third option. And where it says aspect ratio, I'm going to click on the first F so that can get fixed. So like I said, I know that I'm going to be doing holographic on this. Let me fix that paper just a bit. All right. So I know this is holographic cardstock, right? For these, I'm going to be using that digital paper that I just told you guys about. So let me go ahead and locate it exactly where I saved it. And I'm going to be using this one right here. And I'm just going to drag it into Silhouette. I'm going to minimize this. So this one, you can crop if you have basic edition. I'm going to use the property dropper. So I'm just going to select here, click on that dropper. Click on this image, and on the aspect ratio, which is your paint palette, remember you're going to go to your third option and you're going to click on the first aspect ratio. Okay, let me zoom in so you see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to click on the other square. I'm going to click there and just click on this one. I'm going to click on that one, and you can just select everything at once, and then this one and there. Now, I personally don't like how this looks just like that. So I'm going to select my top rectangle. And right here, again, in my fill icon, it looks like a paint palette. On my third option, so 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to click here. Where it says pan pattern, I'm going to click on that. And when I click on pan pattern, you're going to see that a circle pops up right here. I'm going to click on that circle, and I'm going to drag this down. Okay. And right there, because I wanted to like match, like it's the top of the castle, just like that. Okay, and that's it. I can actually click on this and delete on my keyboard because I no longer need it. I can also I'm gonna leave this one here for now. All right, I need to go ahead and also I'm gonna start designing this first so we can go ahead and finish this. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring the digital papers that I'm going to use. I'm gonna use this one. So I'm just dragging it into Silhouette, and I'm going to use this one as well. Minimize it. All right. So we have these two right here. For my, this is only like if you want to do like an arch on your Gable boxes, you don't have to, because you can just go ahead and put your images, which you will see it here when I create this one. But for this one, for my first arch, I'm going to do the same thing. Click on my shape, go to my dropper, and click on my first image here. Go to my fill icon, click on the third option, and click on my aspect ratio, and delete that one because I no longer need it. I'm going to go ahead and select this white one. Remember, the white pieces is where you're going to put your design in. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on that dropper, and then go ahead and click that in your first aspect ratio. So y'all don't say, I'm going to stop right here. So y'all don't say that like, oh my God, you just want us to buy your templates. Of course not. Y'all know I'm always showing you guys. So let me show you really quick on how to create an arch, because I mean, why not? But like I said, if you do want to support me for this class, you can go ahead and purchase my template. How do you create an arch is you go right here in your shapes, and you're going to get a rectangle, and I'm just going to make any size rectangle for now. And I'm just going to measure it, let's say 4 inches by 4 inches, just like that. Then I'm going to go back to my shapes. I'm going to grab the eclipse, like the circle. I'm going to create any circle here, and the same size I made the square, I got to make the circle. So I made it 4 inches by 4 inches, and then I'm just going to center them both. I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to go here to my transform icon, and I'm going to click on center them. And I know I have to bring it more down so it can match. And let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. I need to make sure that these sides match really good right there. Once I like how it looks, this is 2 shapes, so you need to convert it as 1. I'm going to select them both, right click, and make it a select both, right click and weld, and right there. And how do you create the strips? You just do an internal offset, and that's how you create your strips. So you're gonna click on this, you're gonna go into internal offset, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna go ahead, right click and duplicate this one, and then I'm gonna select both, right click and make this a compound path, and now you have a strip. Right click and send that to the back, and I'm gonna select them both, and boom. All right, so don't be saying I don't be teaching y'all nothing. Anyways, let's delete that. And when y'all see me zooming in, is right here. This is to zoom out. I mean, zoom in, zoom out. And the one that has the mouse, you click on it and you can select somewhere here or wherever, so it can directly zoom on that specific spot, okay? So as you can see, this one, I don't like how the crowns are like, you cannot see it so much. So while I have this selected, I'm gonna go here to my paint palette icon. I'm gonna click on the third option, and where it says scale, I'm gonna go ahead and scale that down just a bit. As you can see, I'm just scaling it down. And then where it says pan pattern, I'm just gonna go ahead and move that. I'm gonna go ahead and scale a little bit up. And so I'm kind of satisfied how it looks. All right, I think that's okay. So I have my images there. I know this one back piece, I'm gonna go ahead back to my fill icon, which is the paint palette. And I'm gonna go ahead and color that like a light blue, so I know that's the color cardstock that I'm gonna be cutting it out. These two are the acetate pieces. These two strips, I'm gonna click on one, hold my shift key, click on the other one. Right here, still in my paint palette icon, I have another dropper, but this is the color dropper. I'm gonna select that, and I'm gonna come around here to select like a color from my design. I'm gonna do there. I know I want something a little bit lighter. And I do want to say that just because I am coloring this, that doesn't mean that your machine is going to want you to just upload this color. Again, this is a visual for me. Even though this is blue, I can still upload any blue cardstock to my machine and it's going to cut it out, okay? So this strip goes in front of here. And this strip is going to go in front of here. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead a little bit darker than that. All right. And actually, even though I do have to cut out multiple of this, I'm gonna right click and duplicate it because I know my actual color for this, I want it to be holographic. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that color, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. So I'm gonna select everything and go here to my transform icon and click on center. And then this strip in the front of the holographic, I'm gonna put it blue. Right click and bring to front just in case it's going to the back. I'm gonna select everything and I'm going to center it. And this strip is going to be holographic. Let me zoom out. Select everything and center. So I'm just gonna right click and group it for now, just so I can place everything together here. It's gonna go in the front. I'm gonna go ahead and center it to the side. I'm gonna right click and group everything here, and I'm gonna put this one here. I'm just gonna select everything and size it to the side as well. I'm going to select everything, right click and group it for now. Everything's going to get ungrouped after I'm done, but I'm just grouping it for now so I'm able to move everything together. Now I want this arch to be on this side of my gable box. So I'm just going to align it right here. Okay. Then right here, I do want to put the child's name. So how do you type it? You go to the A on your left, A on your right. You're going to go ahead and select the font, and I'm just going to go ahead and type a name. And then I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in. When you write a script font and you go ahead and cut this out, you can tell that when the machine's gonna cut it out, the S is gonna cut it into the K is gonna go ahead and cut into the Y into the L. I mean, you can see it right there how it's gonna cut. So anytime you do a script font, make sure that you first select the actual font, because after you do this next step, it's no longer a font and you can no longer change the font. I know for sure this is the font that I want, so I'm able to go ahead and do the edits. What you have to do is click on it, right click, and weld it together so it's all one shape. It doesn't cut into each other, okay? Now I do know, okay, let me go ahead. I do know that I do want this a holographic. So let me go ahead and zoom out so I can just put it holographic. And here I'm going to create offsets. Offsets is how you create layers, all right? So my first offset, I'm just gonna go ahead and go to my double star, click on offset, and I'm gonna go down. There is no right or wrong on how big or small you do your offsets. It's just on your preference. Then I'm gonna go ahead and click on the color, that is your paint palette, and I'm gonna color it like a dark color. And then I'm gonna do another offset, and then I'm gonna just color that like a light blue color. Okay, I'm gonna select everything, right click, and group it together. As you can see, usually in Silhouette you can see a red outline. I personally don't like that, so while everything's selected, I'm gonna go here under my paint palette, click on the line style, click here on my color, and click on the no color option. The square looks like a lines going over it. That means no color, so I remove that color. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out. I'm gonna hold my shift key so this can stay straight, and I'm just gonna rotate this. How you rotate it is that you see a little green square, a green circle right here. That's how you rotate. I'm gonna go ahead and place her name right here. And how to enlarge the name is you're gonna see little white white squares all around. So do not pull from the middles because you're just gonna distort it. Let me undo. You're just gonna grab it from one of the corners so you can size it proportionally, just like this. All right, I like how it looks right there. Now I do want to add a 3D image there. So I'm gonna go back to my file folder and find exactly where I saved that image of the princess that I showed you guys. I'm gonna select it, drag it into Silhouette. I know I want this image, so I'm just gonna drag it into Silhouette. The horse, I'm gonna drag it in as well. I'm gonna minimize that. I'm gonna select them all and I'm gonna make them smaller. And I don't know if y'all can see right here on the screen, they have a red outline. So I'm gonna go here to my line icon and click on the no color so that outline could get removed. So right here on the sides, I am not making anything 3D, but I'm still gonna add an image there. So I'm gonna click on it, right click, and flip it horizontal just because I want the horse to be facing that way. And I'm just gonna place the horse right here. Also, if you see these blue lines that come up when I'm moving this stuff around, that's because I have some stuff turned on. So how you turn that on is you go here to your page setup, which is your first icon that looks like a piece of paper. Right here on your second option in your page setup, I have show guides turned on, and I also have enable smart snapping turned on and snap to guides on. So when you see this, I know I'm right there at the bottom of my square and it's right there. Okay, so I also want this image over here. Okay, and then I want the princess. Right click, flip horizontally because I want her facing that way. And I'm actually going to do offsets on her because I want her to be 3D. So while she's selected, I'm going to go to my offset icon, click on offset, and then create my layers. Go to the fill icon so I can change the colors. Go back to offset, offset, paint icon so I can change the colors. My last layer, I want it to be holographic. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. So this is the layers. I'm going to select everything, going to go to the line color and put no color so all those red outlines come off. I'm going to right click and group everything together just so I can move it for right now. And I can size everything together as well. So I want her to be right here. Just like that. And I'm going to add the number 3 right here as well. So I'm going to click the A on my left, then A on my right, and just pick a font. Type. And then I know that's going to be holographic. Go create some offsets. Let me zoom in. Also, the offsets, it doesn't matter how many you create. It's literally how many layers you want to make, okay? So it doesn't matter how many you create. This gray one is also going to be holographic. I'm going to select everything, right click and group it. I'm going to go to my line and put no color for those lines. And make it a little bit bigger. And it goes right here. All right, so as you can see, everything in the front of my Gable box is going to be 3D, but I also like to put images in the back of my Gable box. You don't have to design both sides, but I do, but I only 3D the front. I do not 3D the back. So I'm going to right click and duplicate that rectangle right here because it's going to be for the back, and everything here is going to be flat. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and duplicate the princess, right click and ungroup her from all those layers because I don't need all those layers. And then I'm just going to go ahead and place her here. This is going to be a flat image. It's just going to be printed. So right there, I'm going to right click and duplicate the horse and right click and flip horizontal. I do want the princess to be in the front, so I'm going to click on her and right click and bring to front so the horse could be behind her. And right click and duplicate him, and I'm going to put him right here. And that's it. Literally simple. This is the back. All right. And this box is done. Just like that. We're going to ungroup everything at the end. Let me just keep designing so y'all can see. These are the acetate for this one. I'm just going to leave it there so I know. Let's head on over to this one right here. I'm going to do the same things. This is the curved edge one. For this one, we're going to go for a boy theme. So we're going to do like a dinosaur theme. So I know for my first layer, I want gold paper. So I'm going to go ahead to Google. And I'm just going to go ahead and look up a gold paper. So like I said right here, look up gold background. Remember, I'm not printing this. This is just for the visual. I don't want glitter. Right click, copy image, go into silhouette, right click and paste. Let me make that smaller. I'm going to go ahead, click here on my computer, select everything, go to my dropper on my left and click on that gold. Then go here to my fill icon, click on the third option and click on my aspect ratio and click on the first one. Remember, if you don't have business edition, you can crop, okay? So the way you do it is, like I said, let me color this again, a different color, because you might have forgot already. So all you had to do is put it right here. Move this. Select both, go to your modify icon and crop. All right, that's it. Okay. Same thing I did was I went into Creative Fabrica and I looked up digital backgrounds and my clip art. So again, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be using for these. This is the clip arts that I'm going to be using. It's called Cute Dinosaur Clip Art Watercolor. And for the background, I am going to use the Ancient Forest digital paper. That's what I'm going to be using. I click on download. After it downloaded, I extracted the file and saved it into my external hard drive. I do create different folders depending on the theme, so I know exactly where everything's at. After I saved everything, I went back into Silhouette. I went here to my file folder. And then I'm going to go here to, again, to my external hard drive. And we're going to look up dinosaurs because I know that's exactly where I saved it at. And then I am just going to go ahead and select a background and drag it into Silhouette. For this middle one here, I want this background. So I'm going to click on the dropper, click on that one, go to my fill icon, click on the third option, and click on the first aspect ratio so it can get fixed. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I no longer need it. For these two sides, I'm going to click on it, hold my shift key, select both, select the dropper, select here, and fix the aspect ratio. Select this one and delete because I no longer need it. For this top one here, I'm going to select it, click on the dropper, and select on this middle one. But remember, I don't like how it looks like it's two different ones. I like it to look cohesive. So I'm going to click on it, go to my pan pattern. Again, that's still in your fill icon. Click on pan pattern, and I am going to move that down so it looks like the top of the image right here. So see, everything looks like one. And now let me zoom out. And let's go ahead and start bringing in the dinosaurs that I'm going to use. When you bring in stuff, you have to be careful that you accidentally don't put it on top of another one, because then it's going to go into that one as you saw with that dinosaur. So make sure you're not on top of each other. I'm gonna do offsets again on this dinosaur, so I have it selected. Go to my double star, click on offset, click on my fill icon. I wanted like this color. I am gonna put his name 3D, so I'm gonna put the A on my left, the N A on my right, and I'm gonna use the font called African. And then I'm gonna click here on my screen. I'm gonna type the word Liam. Selected. I know for sure I want this to be gold. I'm gonna go ahead and do my offsets on that as well. So All right, guys, so here is 2 different designs on how you can design your 3D Gable boxes. You don't have to do it like this, but this is how I designed it. Now, my next step from here is I like to put everything out, like take it out, ungroup it, and put everything in order here. So that's my next step. I'm going to go ahead and delete that on top of there. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, right click and duplicate. Because I like to leave this just like that so I know exactly where everything goes. So I know I'm going to need 2 of these. So right click and duplicate. We're going to do a print and cut 2 of these. Also, when you go ahead and print stuff out, like let me go put this here so I can tell you. If I go ahead and do a print and cut on these 2 stuff right here, my machine is going to want to cut around the images that I put there. Okay, so what I need to do is I'm going to select it and I'm going to click no cut. I'm going to select here and I'm going to click no cut. I'm then going to click here somewhere on my screen. Then I'm only going to select the square, click on cut because I only wanted to cut around the square. Then I'm going to select them both, right click and group it together. Okay, then I'm going to click on the square, click on cut, and group it together like that. It doesn't cut around the image in there. So these 2 are ready to do a print and cut. I had to do the same thing with this. This is my acetate. I'm going to click on everything and start on grouping everything. That's going to be holographic. I'm going to be separating everything so I know what color. The way that I'm going to 3D this name, I'm not going to use foam dots. How I'm going to do this is I'm going to cut out multiple layers of this. So I'm going to right click, duplicate, right click and duplicate. I'm going to cut out 3 of that. And I'm going to cut out 3 of this one just so it can be thick. You'll see it when I start gluing it. You don't have to do it like this. You can just literally do 1 of each and use your foam dots. Okay. For that blue strip right there, I did cut out 4 blue strips of each arch. I don't think I showed it here on the screen, but that's what I did because of how deep I wanted for my shakers to move. So these are all the pieces for my first box. Then we're going to end these pieces up here. So now let's do the same thing here. From here, you are ready to start doing your print and cut and cutting. Okay, so this is how everything looks. All right. So if you're going to be using 12 by 12 cardstock, you can leave it like this. But if you're going to be using 8 by 11 cardstock, you're going to go here to your page setup as your first icon that looks like a piece of paper. Where it says media size, change it to 8 by 11, just in case you are going to be using 8 by 11 paper, even to print. To turn on your registration marks, you have to go here, still on the page setup. It is your paper icon. Go here to your third option, click on that. Turn on your registration marks where it says thickness. I like to go all the way up. That's just making my registration marks thicker. My print bleed, I do like to turn on my print bleed, and that's it. So that's 8 by 11. I have a wide format printer, so I'm going to be printing on 11 by 17 paper. But I do need to change my cutting mat to 12 by 24. Now I do have to move this more to the side. So I did put my cutting mat to 12 by 24. And my media size. The media size is like the paper you're going to be cutting or what paper you're going to be printing on. So that's what the size you're going to put here. Or even if you're doing vinyl, that is where you put the size. Like I said, I am going to be doing 11 by 17. And then you go ahead and start putting all your printed images on there. You know, like that. You know, put all of them that it fits. And how do you print is you go here to your printer icon on your top left corner. You're going to click on print. You're going to click on print here. You're going to go ahead and select the printer that you have. I have an Epson EcoTax 16600. I'm going to click on preferences. I like to print from the back, so it's paper tray. My document size 11 by 17. And I like to print on premium presentation paper matte. That is what I like to use. If you're going to be using 8 by 11, make sure that you put it that so it always has to align the document size here on your media size, on your printer settings right here, and also on your printer. So all those three places your paper size should match. Okay, this is up one here. I'm gonna cancel right here in media size, and also in your printer. They all should be matching the same size. Once you are done printing, put everything to the side, and then I'm gonna go ahead back on my page setup. That is your first paper icon where in your registration marks. I'm gonna turn that off because I no longer need that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and change my media size to 8 by 11 because my holographic paper is 8 by 11. And I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate that because I know I need 2 of that. Put all my holographic that fits. I don't think that fits there. So all my holographic pieces that fit, you can start rotating. And then you're going to go here to your send tab. You're going to go here and select the settings that you're going to be using. On my blade, I like to use blade 6. 2 passes if I'm using thick cardstock 80 pound and up. If I'm only using 65 pound, I only do 1 pass. My speed, I bring it down to a 5 or a 6. And my force, I bring it up to a 26. These are the settings that I like to use. You can play around with the settings with your machine. I feel like not every machine is the same, but this is what works for me. Again, if I'm using 65 pound, I do go on 1 pass. Then after I'm done cutting that, I go back to design. I put these to the side. And then let's say I'm ready to cut out all my blue. If you're going to be using 12 by 12 cardstock right here on media size, change it to 12 by 12 and then start putting all your pieces. You don't have to go one by one. You can click on one, hold your shift key so you can select all of them and then go ahead and bring it, okay? Put it right. When you're done, put it to the side and do the same steps for everything. My acetate, because it is very thick, I do like to use at least 3 to 4 passes for my acetate if you're using thick acetate. If you're using the thin one, you only need 1 to 2 passes. Same thing, and send it to cut. You click here to send it to cut your machine. You put the cardstock on your mat, insert it into your cutting machine, and then you click here on send, and it sends it to cut. Okay, and that's basically it, y'all. Y'all cut everything out. And yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and start gluing everything together. So I do like to fold my Gable boxes first before gluing, so it's easier for me when I'm done to close them up. Now, when I'm shipping Gable boxes, I do ship them flat, but I still put them all together when I'm about to take pictures for product pictures so the clients see how they look. Also, I don't think I ever mentioned this at the beginning, but all the Gable boxes that I use, they all have a score. As you can see, some Gable boxes right there where I'm gluing this piece right there, some of the Gable boxes don't have a score line right there, and I do not prefer those. So all my Gable boxes, like I said, they do come with a score mark. Here I'm showing you guys, if you don't want to make them 3D, you don't have to. So a simple design, cute and simple, you're ready to go. So I know for a lot of beginners, they'd be like 3D and it's too much, so leave it simple. Y'all made it all the way to the end. To let me know that you guys made it all the way to the end of this class, comment down below a dinosaur or a snowflake. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this class and if you would like longer classes like this more often, and let me know of what you would like to learn as well. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and click on notification bell to get notified every time I upload new videos. Join my free Facebook group. It's called Andrina's Creations Crafting Lounge. I would love to have you guys over there. You must answer all 3 questions to get approved. And like I always say, I hope everyone's having a blessed day. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, y'all.